Hey guys, how are you doing? Today I want to silence my Recurve Bow. This is actually the riser of my spouse, but we have the same one. And this one is my old bow. This is the old Recurve Bow that I shot for over 10 years. And the old system was very easy to silence. So you would just put a piece of cloth or a piece of leather in between the riser and the limb. And this way you would have a very silent bow. But with the new ILF system, it's a little bit more tricky. So I think these ILF systems are really loud when you are just shooting it like this. They make a loud sound, much louder than the old Recurve Bow system was. Now some people might ask, why are you using the new system then when it's so loud? Well, the new system comes with a few advantages that the old one doesn't have. So this here is a standardized system, which means that you can exchange all kinds of limbs and different brands, and you can use this riser, which is, for example, by MandarinDuck, and then you can use limbs from a different company. And that's a great thing. This was not possible most of the time with the old system here. And the next cool thing about ILF is that it's much more quickly to assemble and disassemble. And also you can adjust the limb to the left or to the right by just unscrewing these screws here. So I think ILF is great, and it gives you many more options that you wouldn't have with the old Recurve Bow system. So I think this is the way to go now, and that's why I changed to the new system. The only disadvantage of ILF is that it's really loud. So every time I meet an ILF guy at the range, I always know it in an instant before seeing them, because their bows are usually really loud. Okay, now let's check out the reason why ILF is more loud than the old system. I just go into this hole here. It's looking like a keyhole, and I insert this part here, which looks like a nut, a round circular nut. And it also has this spring fed, I don't know what you call this here. It's like a pin that comes out and which presses against this part at the bottom so that it stays in place. And you just feed it in like this. And that's it. Okay? This is how you can assemble the bow pretty quick. The only thing is, when you're shooting, it makes a vibration here and here. And I think the reason for this is, I think that this spring is maybe not enough to press out the limb. And also it makes a little bit of sound underneath here. So there are two spots where it makes sound. So now I want to find some kind of dampening material, and I want to try if I can silence this bow. But before that, I want to try it out and show you how loud it shoots right now. So let's assemble the bow and then put on the string and shoot it a couple of times, and then you will hear how loud the bow is. So actually it's really loud. It's not only coming from the string but also from the ILF thing. Let's try a different arrow. Okay, now let's disassemble the bow again. Now let's take a look what's underneath the screw here. Okay, so now I want to show you the screw in detail. First off, it comes with a spacer, so it makes sure that you don't screw in the screw too much. And then you have a little bit of a hard plastic washer, and then you have the limb bolt, and then you have this thing here which comes with a conical cavity. And this is important because this actually holds the limb in place. And I think these two are good to use, and the spacer as well. But this washer here is made from hard plastic, so I think it's too hard to dampen the noise. And this is why I want to make myself a washer but from this old tire here, which I have laying around in my basement. This is basically a bicycle tube. Okay, now I want to throw away this old washer because I don't need it anymore. Maybe I'm going to keep it for other projects, but I think for this bow it's really not suitable. And yeah, of course not every bow or every riser looks like this, so you might have to deal with a different system. But anyway, you can always add a Ranger band washer underneath the screw. So now I put back in the screw, then I take my new washer, put it over the screw, and then my spacer. And now I want to take a little bit of polystyrene because actually the black screw is carbon and this can rust easily in very moist conditions, for example. So I just take this polystyrene and spray it into the fret here. Alright, so now let's insert the screw again. Alright, so now this part is surely silent, but also some of the vibration is coming from here. And actually I doubt that this pin is strong enough to keep the limb in place, because actually there's a whole lot of vibration and pressure on the limbs, and it will vibrate a little bit, and that's making the sound. So now what I want to try is I want to attach one more Ranger band washer around this part. So now let's try if I can fit this in now. It's much harder than before. Okay, now I had to loosen the limb bolt a little bit and then screw it down again against the limb, sorry. So with this brand it was not possible to shove it in. Alright, so now I want to put the second washer onto the limb, the nut here, and let's try to get this back in. Okay, now I want to show you my bow, which is basically almost the same, only that I'm using different limbs. And I've done the same noise cancelling thing on this bow. And actually here I can take out the limb without loosening the bolt, like that. Okay, it really depends on the brand. They should be the same, but they might be slightly different depending on the brand. And yeah, so with this one it's possible to take it down even with the washers, and with this one I have to loosen the bolt. But I also need to say that my spouse almost never takes down the bow, so most of the time we just throw it into the car like this and we don't unscrew or take out the limbs. So here I can do it by hand, no problem. See, that's it. So this brand here seems to be a little bit wider at the sides. You can see it here. So with these limbs it's a little bit harder to shove in, and that's why I have to loosen the bolt here to get the limbs in and out. But as I said before, my spouse never takes down the bow and we go to the archery range like this. Okay, so it might work without a bolt, but also it depends on the brand, and with some brands you might have to loosen the screw bolt. Anyway, now let's go and shoot this bow again and let's see how silent it is. So most of the noise is coming from the string now, the bowstring. Okay, now I want to do one more thing to the limb riser connection. So if you take a look into here, you will see that there's a cavity. I think they have cut this out because it saves some weight, and that's a good thing. However, every hollow spot is going to make some vibrations, just like a guitar. And this is why I want to fill the spot now with some plastic foam material that I had lying at home. Okay, so now let's just cut off a piece here. And I just stick it into here. And this should now dampen the vibration inside here even more. As alternative to this plastic foam here, you can always take some cotton, but cotton takes up a lot of moisture, so I'm not sure if you want that, so I'm going for the plastic thing here. Okay, next I've cut out a couple of Velcro strips and I want to glue them onto the back side of the limb here, because this is where the string hits the bow every time you're shooting the bow. And this also makes a lot of sound, because every time the string hits the limb it makes a vibration sound, and with this strip of Velcro in between it will be much more silent. Okay, last but not least, I would like to put some string silencers onto the bowstring. But first I want to wax the string because it's completely unwaxed. So I'm just taking some beeswax for that. Waxing your string is important because it will increase the durability of your string and the longevity of your string. So make sure that you wax your string every now and then. Alright, so now I want to attach the fur to my string, and I just split the string in half. Make sure that I have the same amount of strands in each bundle. Okay, like that. Then I take my silencer fur and I lock it in place. And then I take my silencer and I wrap it around the string like this. And I make sure that there's some tension on the silencer. And then when I'm coming to the end again, I'm splitting the string again and I put the very end of the silencer through the gap and then I close the string again. And this is essentially how you put on a silencer onto your bowstring. See? And now it should hold like this. And it doesn't come off anymore when you're shooting the bow. Okay, now let's shoot my spouse's bow first. So this bow is much more silent than before, and you can hear it when you are plucking the string. It's much better. Okay, now I want to test my own bow, which is fully silenced. So it's much better than before. Before that it was making a really loud sound, and you will never be able to fully silence a bow, so it will always make a sound, but it makes a difference if the sound is like 100 decibel or 50 decibel. And that's important if you want to go hunting with your bow. Because if the bow is too loud, the animal will hear the bow and it will have about a second to react, and then it might jump or change direction. So it's always good if you have a silent bow. Alright guys, so these are our new bows now. This is mine, this is my spouse's. Can't wait to hit the archery range. But first I need to make myself and my spouse a couple of arrows. Okay, so this is it guys. Thank you for watching and stay tuned till next time.